thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I know it's a weekend, but still you guys found time. That means a lot. Thank you so much for that. So uh, quickly giving you an introduction from our side, I would like to thank our co-founder and managing director, Arvindu Sandela, for making this uh, CS Hub a reality. And we got our head of CS, Rajesh, and we have one more person, Shiva. He couldn't join the call, so they are overseeing this project. Thank you so much, Rajesh, for that. And we got a fantastic team of admins, Akansha, Asish, and Sukrita, Jyoti, Naina, Meenakshi, and Manthan. And finally, yeah, I don't have to introduce this person. You guys know him better than me. We got Ankit Agrawal here. He's a senior manager of CS Ops and Enablement. He's our guide, mentor, exactly like for most of you guys. And so being an AI first community, we wanted to begin with a topic which is really relevant. So Ankit will take us through how we can use Google Sheets and app scripts to automate our CS operations or tasks. So over to you, Ankit, and thank you so much, everyone, once again.
Thanks, Sam. Cool. Okay, allow me to share my screen. Okay, awesome, guys. Thanks for joining, especially on a weekend. First of all, let's talk about today's workflow. And I wanted to mention why I particularly reached out to Sam that we can have this kind of a topic. So we did a meetup back in Bangalore last month or last to last month actually. And basically, I met a lot of people. We were checking, how AI is currently being leveraged. And I found that, all the people are talking about AI, but in actual, there are only few people who are leveraging AI, at least in day-to-day work. So we thought, why not we do something? Why not we do a session around this for this purpose so that people can understand how can you use AI and become an AI first citizen. So my name is Ankit, and as Sam introduced, I work for a company called MoEngage. I basically lead the ops and enablement, and I am responsible for AI training at my company as well. So we have a large team of CSMs, and I have been given this opportunity to train people on AI in customer success. And since I'm doing that, it makes sense also to learn. And I wanted to give back to the community, and that's why, here I am. So that's what. Let's start. This is a session about automating your workflow with Google Sheets and Google Apps Script. So the first point is everything that you want to automate or anything that you want to do with AI, it starts with the first point, which is mindset, right? So as a customer success manager, you need to think about how do I basically approach a problem, right? How can I solve this via AI? So there is a traditional way where you find out, where you see, I have a problem, how can I solve it? And then there is an AI first way, which is like, hey, I want to do this. How can AI get me do this faster? And that's what I feel is the primary point, because I speak to a lot of people. I think what we are looking for is, what are those use cases that AI can solve? But instead of looking at the use cases that AI can solve, we should ask that question to ourselves, and in a way to find out what kind of tasks are there that we are doing, and AI can help us out with that. Okay, that's the mindset that we have to have to solve with AI first. And I think it can change a lot of things. To give you an example, as a customer success manager, you can be busy, you can be productive. I think at least we know that we are productive, but maybe the other teams think that we are just busy and we are not productive. And I know for the fact that a lot of time that we have, it goes into strategic tasks, which is good. Ideally, it should go into the strategic time, let's say for 80 to 90% of times. But we know that a good chunk is also going in the admin and repetitive tasks, which is like 40% of it. So let's try to solve for that, and let's try to see how do we automate this so that this 40% or whatever admin or repetitive task that you're doing, how can we solve for it and how can we make it better? Okay, so that's what we are going to discuss. So the next point is we all use Google. Ours is basically Google plus a Slack approach. So that's what we use here at MoEngage. And sometimes we do not realize we keep on looking at different AI tools in the market that they would solve the problem. However, what I personally feel and what I have personally done is that you can do a lot just with Google Sheets and Google Apps Script. And that's what we are going to discuss. The reason of particularly using your Google account is definitely because it's something which is very familiar. You're already using it. In case you're using Excel, you can use Google Sheets. It's very similar. Second thing is it's flexible. I will dive deep into the coding part of it. So it's quite flexible and you can build exactly what you want to do. And the most important part, it's free. There is no new budget required, and you can basically start using the AI inside Google Apps Script directly. And as I mentioned earlier, you do not need $1 million budget to actually create workflows. What you can do is you can use Google Apps Script. It has API access, and it's an enterprise AI platform. So it's basically like you are renting a supercomputer for pennies when you need it. Okay, so we'll dive deep into it, how to get things done. Now, I know that many of us would come from a non-technical background. And the biggest question that we would ask is, hey, if I want to leverage AI, I need to learn about the complicated stuff. I need to learn about coding. I need to learn about embeddings and all those things. I mean, the last week I was talking to someone and he mentioned that AI is too technical for him. What I personally feel is AI is non-negotiable right now, not just for CS, but for all the job profiles, right? If you're neglecting AI at this point of time, it is basically like you are leaving money on table, right? So it's really important that we use AI in everyday life. And being a CSM, there are a lot of things that you can do. So that would help you out in getting things automated, in saving time, and at the end, becoming more efficient. Okay, so that's what. Moving on to the next section, which is if you're not a coder, the good part is you do not have to be a coder as well, because there is Google AI, there's Gemini AI, there are different tools in the market, which you can exactly use to basically write the code for Apps Script. And I promise you, it's not that technical. Okay. The AI has advanced so much that you do not need to basically program anything. What you can do is you can leverage AI to actually code for you, and it would basically turn that into an app idea. Okay. Now, next part is basically the right prompting. So as you know, garbage in, garbage out. The AI is as good as what we give as an input. So it's really important that you give AI the right prompt. What I mean by prompt is basically it's the input that you give to AI so that it can generate the right output. While there are many frameworks that you can use to prompt AI, I personally use this one, which is very simple. It's called PCTF, Prompting Framework. Some people call it PTCF. You can call it PCTF, whatever it is. Basically, it has 4 sections. The first section is basically the persona. So what happens is in this prompting framework, you first tell the AI who would be like you want AI to take a particular role. So that's what. The second thing is basically the context. So you give it a background, why you are creating that particular app, what are you trying to do, all those things. Task is what do you want AI to do? For example, let's say we are creating a Google Apps script code for that. So that would be a task. And format is basically how you want to present the answer. Maybe while you are creating an application that is not needed, so we can actually use PCT or PTC, but because at the end it's writing the code. But let's say you are writing something else and you want AI to give you an email, you want AI to give you an Excel sheet sort of a data, you can basically define the format. And if you use this framework, you would find that eventually your responses in AI would become much, much better. So that's something that I want you to do. Whenever you are trying to use AI for anything, try to use this prompting framework and you would see better results directly. Okay, so that's what. Now moving on to the next section, which is about the use cases. Okay, so now we have talked enough about the theory. Let's talk more about the use cases and we'll try to achieve them via AI as well right there on this call. So one use case that you would have is everyone is using meeting notes these days, right? We are getting the Otter, there like the Fireflies, there is like Avoma. There are so many tools in the market, but how do you get insights from it? Or let's say you have recorded something, you have recorded call notes manually. How would you get the answers from it? Well, you can actually use AI for that. Let's say you spoke to the customer about renewal, they seem hesitant, and they mentioned about competitor, and they also asked you about a new feature, and you need to follow up with the engineer, and at the end you want to schedule the QBR. You see, these are very unstructured notes that you have, right? What AI can do for you is basically it can give you a structure and it can tell you exactly what are those insights. You see this one? So you get this insight. And we'll get to the part also how to actually do this via Google Sheet. This is just for the presentation. So I wanted to give you an output, how this can be done. And later we will talk more about the second use case, which is around getting from reactive to proactive season. So for example, you know, this is the email or the feedback that you have received from the customer and you want AI to analyze the sentiments. What you can do is just think about a use case where it is giving you a sentiment. For example, it gives me a sentiment that is negative. The feedback expressed clear frustration and dissatisfaction with recent update. So just think about it. And in case, you know, you have a Google Sheet where it can tell you about all the conversations, that if it was positive or negative, what was the reasoning. And maybe we can integrate that with Slack or let's say Teams or whatever you're using, how powerful that can be. For example, just think about the scenario. You have your notes. Those notes are automatically syncing to Google Sheets. And from Google Sheets, basically, the AI is running every day. It is finding those sentiments. And whenever there is a very negative sentiment, it is basically giving you a Slack message that there is a negative sentiment or something. So that is the kind of workflow we can have with AI. And we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so let's open Google Sheets. Let's get to the basics and let's try to build an application for the first thing. Okay, so even if you're not paying attention till now, this is the part where you should be paying attention, guys. We are getting into the real AI thing. Cool. Okay, So my favorite tool, I particularly use Gemini. You can use OpenAI as well, but I particularly use Gemini. As you can see, this is like our company's Gemini, so it's customized a bit, but you would have the same features if you're a pro version, or even for the, if you are not paying, you can basically get the 2.5 Flash, which is equally good. Okay. So if I come back to this tab, what are we trying to build? Our use cases, we want to summarize the nodes into instant insights. And we want to develop an application using Google Gemini as well as on Google Sheets. Okay, so let me actually share the format first before I get into this. I have already prepared a sheet which has some data. For example, there is the account name, and then there is this meeting notes. This is actually some data that I'm getting from my CRM. And at the end, basically, I want meeting categories and the topic discussed. So what I would do is basically I will go to Gemini and try to give it a prompt. So we discussed about the CTF framework, and we are going to use that exactly. So let me change this to like this. Now, what we are trying to do is basically we are trying to develop an application on Google Sheets. That means we want the persona to be a developer who also knows about CS. Okay, so that is something that I can give. For example, act as seasoned Google App Script expert who has used Google Sheets. Well, you also have a lot of knowledge about customer success domain, and you are an expert in creating applications via Google App Script and Google Sheets. Okay, so we have given it a persona. The reason to give it a persona so that AI knows what kind of persona it should have take and how it should act. Second thing is basically C, which is context. So what's the context? What are we trying to build? We are trying to build an application on Google App Script that allows me to summarize meeting notes, find out, and basically find out the category of meeting and the key topics discussed. Okay, so that's what. Keep the key topics limited to 5 topics per meeting. Now, the next part is T, which is task. The task is to write Google App Script code that runs on the top of Google Sheets. It should analyze the notes stored in column. So in our example, basically we are storing the notes in column G. So I will mention that column G, and give the output in column H for meeting categories and topic discussed in column I. Yes, I is fine, column I. And the format is nothing because it can understand it well, but just for the sake of prompt, we can write it down, which is Google Apps Script Code. Yes. Okay. And one thing that we forgot is while we are telling this, how we will get it done. The task is to actually use AI for that. So we should actually mention this in task. Leverage Google Gemini AI features. For this, use the API and summarize each row via the AI. Correct? And then this is there. Then Google has basically Gemini has this option to create Canvas. Canvas is basically the way to create a script. So we'll just copy it first. We'll enable this option and then we'll click on submit. Okay, we'll do that. Guys, I know you would have a lot of questions. So in case you have a lot of questions, you can put it down in the chat or you can keep it as it is. We have enough time to go through the questions. So we can take that later. But let's see what we have done. So we have given it PCTF framework, which is persona, context, task, and format. One thing that I forgot and one thing that I did incorrectly is I should have mentioned persona, context, task, and format. However, Gainsight, however, this Gemini is smart enough to do it. But see, the output that is created as a seasoned Google expert with deep understanding of customer success domain, I can certainly help you build this intelligent, neat organizer right in Google Sheets. And it has also given you instructions for setup. You see this one? And this is where it also tells me that you can take your Gemini API key. You can update the script here. It's actually right here. I know about it. And you click on save, refresh. It would come meeting AI and it would come. Okay. And it also explains you the code. In case you are interested in seeing some code or you want to find out something, you can basically ask Gemini about anything. So you can go here, click on Ask Gemini, ask a question, and it would generate the answer. If you want to change something, it can also help you change that. Okay, so that's fair. And now let's test it out. So what I can do is basically I can copy paste this code. I go to Google Apps Script Summary, the sheet that I showed earlier. I click on App Script. And basically, I put the code here. Sorry, I can put the code.js here and put the code here. Okay, one thing that I have to do is I have to put my API key here. For that, go to aistudio.google.com. And basically, you can click on the get API key. I cannot cover that, unfortunately, because it would expose the key. And since this is being recorded, I cannot show that. But if you click on this, you would get the API key, and then you can use it. Now we go back, we update that. And, once that is updated, we are done. At the end, basically, it is code.js. This JS is basically Google script. Now I have already created code earlier, so I would not do it again. So I will delete the other one, come back to the sheet. You refresh the sheet. What happens is if you open your Google sheet, but you would find that you have tab still help. However, just after adding this, you would have option to do this, Gemini tools and all. This is an advanced version that I created for myself. So it has a couple of other things, but for this session, we will not cover that currently. However, this is the part. So what it would do is, let's say I click on this, categorize all nodes. What it would do automatically is that it would go to each step. It would go to each nodes and try to categorize this in different categories. So what this says is that out of, let's say, 9 calls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 1 and two calls are there for technical support, and then there are like 1, 2, 3, four calls for strategy and adoption, and then there were 2 calls which were around escalation. So it can totally tell you what's happening with the meetings, and it would also tell you what were the key topics discussed during that meeting. Okay, so this is how you can leverage AI to summarize the meeting notes. And this is very flexible. So if I open this again, if you want a different summary, if you want it to have a different thing altogether, what you can do is basically change the system prompt. Yes. You see, so what it happens is basically, as I mentioned earlier, your output is as good as the prompt that you're giving. So what it is doing is basically clustering this into different topics based on this prompt. So what you can do is, in case you want to have a different prompt, if you want to have different categories altogether, for example, this one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So currently it is giving me 5 categories only. But if you want to change that, you can just change the prompt here and it would automatically help you out with a different thing. Okay, so we'll cover the rest of part, and I want to give enough time for the questions as well. So let's take the second use case. Okay, the second use case is basically how to go from reactive to proactive with sentiment. Now I told you about this workflow where instead of relying on a particular thing, instead of manually checking something out, how about we create an application on Google Abstract that can give alerts on sentiment? So what I have done is I have actually created something similar for you already. And this application is called CS Alerts. Now, what it does is it's basically, you can set up a Slack webhook. There's a feature called as incoming webhooks, and it would analyze the notes for signal. Same thing, just a different prompts. Because if I come here, I will showcase how this is done. And you can, whatever you used earlier, you can use the same prompt. You can use the similar application. However, only thing that you have to do is you have to change the way you are categorizing. So instead of categorizing the meeting note into 5 different categories, what we are doing is we are categorizing this based on 2 classifications. One is basically the upsell opportunity, and second is basically the risk category. And you can see I had to mention this about MoEngage because these notes are coming at MoEngage, so they should be there. So the prompt should be really good. What I'm doing is basically based on meeting notes, I'm trying to identify if there is an upsell opportunity or if there's a risk category. And you see this is the prompt. Classify as upsell opportunity if you find explicitly expresses need for more features, shows interest in expanding the usage, discusses new projects, or a simple question about a feature which is not an upsell. Similarly, for risk, if they're talking about our competition, I have actually mentioned the names of our competition so that the AI doesn't miss that, or there are other key risks. And then basically what AI is doing, it is going through each of the summary, each of the notes, giving it to AI, and basically getting the output from there. How it works, let's see that. I have created this application, CS Alerts. Click on Analyze Notes for Signals. And, okay, so I have changed this. So this is like hard-coded based on the name of the sheet. So let's try to run that now. And it has started processing the rows. So what it is doing, since I gave it a very strong prompt, it only generated it in one of the rows. See? I cannot show you, but I have received a Slack message just while I was presenting this, and I will show you how it looks, by the way. So see, it has generated an upsell opportunity. It says that there is a signal, and there is a reason for signal as well, because this is the prompt that I gave. And since I integrated this with incoming webhooks using Slack, this is how it looks. So if there is a risk, it shows me something like this, that, hey, this is there is a new risk for the company. This is the CSM, this is the tier of the customer, and there is an upsell opportunity for this particular company. This is the CSM, and why they think that there is a reason for that. Okay. And you can automate this stuff because what you can do is there is something called as triggers. So you can actually trigger this code every day at a particular time. So imagine this. If you can get this data, if you have a CRM integration that can put notes directly into Google Sheets, it can send you alerts like at any time, right? You do not have to wait and see every call. All these upsell alerts, all these risk alerts can be automated and you would get them in Slack. Best part, most of the companies are maybe charging, hundreds of thousands of dollars for doing this. You can do this for completely free. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you. And these are some strong use cases that you can do. Basically, these are the things. Now, before we end, I want you to give a homework. First of all, this is the evening. You have a Sunday tomorrow. Try to write down a single most boring, repetitive task that you have been doing as a CSM, right? And find your target and see how you can automate it. Try to leverage whatever I have shown, PCTF, Google Canvas, and all those things. And in case you are stuck, do let me know. I'm here to help you out. Okay. So with that, I would leave the room open for questions. And I would love to help you out in achieving some of the use cases. Cool. Okay, guys, any questions there? No questions? Cool. Okay, I think
Ankit, when we'll start doing it, then we may face certain challenges, we may have certain questions. And
Sure. Yeah, Samar. Yes, definitely.
Hi, Ankit. Sandeep this side.
Hey.
Hi, Ankit. Hi. So actually, I developed CRM for my sister. She's in real estate. So what they do, they don't have a proper CRM. So what their usual, the agents, what they do is they call the customers on their mobile and then they pitch for the real estate, opportunities they have. So the problem area was that they were, not able to follow up the customers properly. So using the Google Sheet, I developed, normal drop downs, and then I used the Google Sheet app script to get email reminders for the agents. So in this way, the agents would get email reminders if they mention date and time. So I use the OpenChat. ChatGPT. Yeah, OpenAI. Yep. So, but I saw you that you're doing it from Gemini, and I think it's little more better than
the Gemini
OpenAI.
Canvas. Yes, Gemini Canvas is actually perfect for Google Apps Script. And if you're on the Pro version, then I think it's the best.
So the challenge, I faced that I wanted to share with you, and I didn't get the answer. So what happened that the Gmail. So Gmail would send the emails to all the customers whose email ID and proper follow-up date and time is mentioned. But the personal Gmail ID only has limitation of sending, I think, 99 to 100 emails a day. So this is where, I was stuck, because if she goes for a business account, then probably she gets more, email messages, that the Gmail would send. So this was one challenge. And the other challenge was, is there anything where, if we upload a call, say on Gemini, and it's like a MP3 or a voice file, and can it give us the call summary? Do we have the thing which can be built for free? So that's something I wanted to ask.
It can do that, but it's not scalable, Sandeep. The problem would be you can upload maybe one file or two files. As far as I know, it's only possible via this particular thing. The upload file. However, what you might want to try is try to get a subscription to an AI which can do a transcript. There are many tools in the market which can do transcript, and AI can work on that. So if we have that kind of a layer in between where you can upload your MP3, it gives you transcript, and then you give the transcript as context. I think it can do wonders.
Into the tool that you just shown. Yes.
Okay, so that's an approach that you can take. And regarding the other thing, sending emails, I think, by the way, you should not be using Gmail for that. The reason for that is there is certain IP reputation also, right? So if you're sending it by Gmail, I think you would have bad open rates for sure. So try to have a domain and try to use SendGrid or something for that. Because this is one of our business. That's why I wanted to mention that.
Right. So actually, he has just done the startup at the moment, and she wanted me to help out. But I think with the domain, I think most of our problems will be resolved.
Yeah.
So thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, domain is something that you should have. You should invest in, and it would give you that kind of authority as well.
Right. Got it. Thank you so much, Ankit. The session has been really helpful.
Cool. Thank you.
Learned a lot. Thank you.
Good. Any more questions, guys? Oops. We can call it a session then, Sam?
Yes, Ankit, absolutely. So thank you so much for that session, Ankit. It was really helpful, really insightful. And so I would be putting a tiny link in this chat. Folks, if you find any of your friends, connections interested in CS domain or would love to be a part of our community, I've just shared a link with you guys in this chat box. You can share that with them. It's an invite link. And yes, of course, we'll have more webinars and meetups lined up. We'll share the announcement soon. And lastly, we'll have a tiny feedback survey form, which you can fill within less than 30 seconds. We'll be sending out to you. Yeah, that's all from my side. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ankit. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Ankit. Thanks, Sam.